last week I went to the grocery store and I found this guitar. It was sitting up against the building, against the store, and the headstock was broken off. Appears somebody put it out there thinking, well, instead of throwing it away, I'll set it out there, maybe somebody can fix it. So I come along and saw it and looked at it and thought, I can fix this. I fixed another guitar, and that was in my last video. So if you saw my last video, which was last week, that's when I found this. I did a video on gluing the headstock back on. And so I know this is a sailing channel, but like I said in the other video, music is, an important part of sailing because it's entertainment and it's something to do. So, and over the centuries, sailors always brought instruments along on their voyages. So it's, it does play a role in sailing. So I thought I'd go ahead and just make a couple videos on fixing this guitar because during repair work is always important on a boat. So even if it's just a guitar. So I'm going to go ahead and take the clamp off. I have a C-clamp on the end here. So I glued it last week and I let it sit all week. Normally you wouldn't have to wait that long, but I was busy doing other things, so I thought I'd just wait and just leave it on there all week. So I'm going to go ahead. First thing I'm going to do is this pick guard, and I think you could probably see it. It looks like there's some stuff on there, and what it is the pick guard has a plastic coating on it, and it's just like when you buy a new phone or something with a screen on it. They'll have or a lot of electronic equipment that has a display will have a clear plastic film protecting it, and normally what you do is you just peel it off. So I think I can just peel this off, and so I'll do that now, hopefully. I don't know if it's going to come off. I don't know if this is supposed to be permanent. I don't think so. I think this is supposed to be removable. It's looking better already underneath, so let's see if I can just get this to peel off. Yeah, it's just film. So now I'm going to go ahead and peel this film off. The previous owner probably didn't realize this was covered or just decided to leave it on. I usually leave this stuff on if I buy a new piece of electronic equipment, and as long as it looks good and you can't really see it, I'll leave it on until it gets to the point where it's starting to look bad, just for extra protection on the screen. So that's all that was, and this pick guard looks really nice now and shiny and new. And you can see it's got little pink hearts on here, kind of like little crystals. And so evidently this is a little girl's guitar, and kind of feel bad for her because her guitar got broken. And if I knew who it belonged to, I'd fix it and give it back to her, but I don't know who it belongs to. And so I'm going to go ahead and fix it up, and I'll probably just have it's a cheap Chinese built guitar. Looks like the name is Loren and made in China. And it actually, looking at it, it looks pretty well built, so I'm surprised. And it's got bracing in here. I think, let me feel this bracing. Let's see if I can feel in here and feel what kind of bracing it has. It feels like, I don't know if it's XL. I think it's XL. I think that's what it is, but I can't, it's kind of hard for me to feel in here. I think if I turned it around, I could probably get in there better with my hand. But yeah, it's actually pretty well built. I'm surprised, and like I said in the last video, just by thumping it, it sounds like it's going to actually sound pretty good. Now, it's missing the saddle. It's the part the strings go over on the bridge here. And I happen to have some extra ones because I fixed this girl's guitar that I used to work with. And so I bought, her saddle was missing. And in the previous video, you can see photos of that guitar and what I did to it. It was pretty messed up, and I was able to fix it. And the neck was broken in 3 places. The whole body was squished down. She had really heavy gauge strings, and somebody just kept tightening the strings and tightening. It literally crushed the top of the guitar here down. It was an Ovation guitar, so they got a kind of a composite back to them. They're the guitars with the rounded back, so it's kind of looks like carbon fiber or plastic, and it's some special composite. And so I literally stretched the neck back up. I made a special jig for that and tied a rope around the headstock and twisted and literally pulled the neck back up into place. And then I had to glue the neck. It was broken in 3 places, and I used wooden dowels as pins to pin it back together. And I couldn't believe it, but I actually got it in tune and got the intonation correct, where because the neck had been crushed down, I didn't think I'd be able to get it back to where every note on the fretboard was in tune, but actually I did, and it worked out good, and it played just fine when I was done with it. And I kept it for a couple weeks just to make sure it was stable, and then I gave it back to her. So at any rate, her saddle was missing too, so I had to go and buy some saddles. And so I got some extra ones because I wasn't sure when I was at the music store exactly what size I needed. So I do have some saddles here, and unfortunately they're not thick enough for the slot here, and they should fit in tight. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of these anyway. And let me see. So I don't know if you can see that, but this is it. I got part of it down in the slot. It's a little long. It's too long to fit in here, but I do have it in the slot, and you can see it wiggle like this. Well, that's not good. You don't want that. So what I'm going to do, just so I can use this for now, I may replace it with the right size eventually. Right now I want to go ahead and remove the C-clamp, and I got a piece of wood so the C-clamp wouldn't mar the headstock. And I should have put a piece of paper under the piece of wood, because I have a feeling because of squeeze out of the glue, that piece of wood's probably glued to the guitar. So I may have a hell of a time getting that loose, and actually might damage the headstock a little bit in the process. But I'm having a feeling it's probably glued on there. If I had put a piece of paper under that piece of wood, at least the paper would have been glued to the headstock, but not the wood. So that would have been easier to deal with. But I thought about it right after I glued it, so it was like, yeah. So at any rate, so I'm going to have to cut this down, and I'm going to have to find some way to fill the gap up and make this tight. And this saddle needs to be as far that way as possible, because that's where the strings would naturally go across. If it was the right size, would go across, and that would be the correct length from the saddle to the nut, which is the bridge part up here by the tuning pegs. And it looks like this saddle might be a little low, but I'm thinking when I get the string tension on here, the neck on guitars will tend to bend up slightly, even though they shouldn't, but they do. And so the action might be a little low on this, and I might get some buzzing on the fretboard, depending on how well this fretboard's made. It looks really good. This guitar actually is made pretty well for a cheap guitar. And looking at the fretboard, it looks pretty flat. So okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this saddle out so I don't drop it. I don't think I could lose it on the boat here, but And I'm going to go ahead and remove this C-clamp, and hopefully I can get this piece of wood off of here. Okay, so I'm just going to loosen the C-clamp. And I used Titebond glue. So that's what luthiers, people that work on guitars, use Titebond to glue wooden musical instruments together. And so I can see this. Yeah, it's glued on. And I don't know, because it's Titebond, I'm going to have a hell of a time getting this off. Man, I wished I would have put some paper under here. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have a chisel. I need to get under it, but let's see if I can just push it up with my fingers. Oh, it came right off. Cool. So there was a little bit of glue on here, but not much, just a little tiny spot. So this looks good. I glued this in good. It's right where it needs to be. And these tuning pegs should be good, and they're not. They're moving. I didn't glue those. That's good. And so these tuning pegs don't look too bad. And so now basically all I got to do is just fit the saddle in, find something I can put in there to take the slop out, and then put new strings on. So that's all I have to do now. And so I got some strings, and I've been playing guitar since I was 5. And there's certain strings that I use on my guitars. And D'Addario I consider these the best guitar strings for acoustic guitar or acoustic electric guitars. I've yet to find anything better. And I've been using these pretty much all my life on guitars. I absolutely love these strings. I've tried other strings, and most of them don't even come close to these strings. So the gauge on these are custom light gauge, 0.011 to 0.052. So that's the range of the thickness of the strings. So I prefer relatively light gauge to medium, but if you put the heavier the strings you put on, the sound actually is kind of better. But the guitar's harder to play. It tears your fingers up a little more. It takes more pressure to push down on them, and to do bends. Real light strings you can bend. If you're a guitar player who does a lot of bends, I do some. But the thicker the strings, the stronger the sound. The thinner the strings will sound thinner. So thin sound opposed to a thicker sound. And so I use D'Addarios for steel string acoustic guitars and acoustic electric. On classical guitars, I use Salvarez strings, and same thing, like these D'Addarios, I've yet to find a better string than Salvarez. And they're the best classical guitar strings as far as I'm concerned. If anybody knows of anything better, please leave a comment down below and I'll check them out. And then on electric guitar, I use Ernie Ball Super Slinkies. So usually 9s on the high E first string. They stretch real easy. They're real buttery. Sometimes I'll use 10s. But that's usually what I use. So right now I'm going to go ahead and I got to fit this saddle in. And then I'll put these strings on and see if I can get it tuned up. And hopefully my gluing here will hold, because there's a lot of pressure on this headstock when you tighten the strings. But I used Titebond glue, and I had a real wide area. The way it broke, it wasn't like a straight break like this. It was like it pulled apart like this. So there was a lot of area I could put glue on. So that was good. So the more area you can put glue on, the stronger the repair. The headstock is kind of got some pieces chipped out of the front. Now those were missing when I found this guitar. If those pieces were there, I could have glued them back in and probably made the headstock look pretty good. But the headstock ain't looking too good here. You can see the damage on the front, but that's okay. I don't care about that. I may just go ahead and kind of keep this guitar as one I'm not too worried about getting banged up playing, on the boat. You get a real nice guitar, especially when they're new and there's not a scratch on them. You just freak out about getting that first scratch. After you get a couple of scratches on them, then it doesn't matter so much. But that first scratch, my classical guitar I bought back in 1978, it was a really nice Aria AC60 classical guitar, beautiful. It was called a Jacaranda cut, where the wood grain, it wasn't straight grain, it was all real splotchy, and you can kind of see the grain wasn't straight. It's a very beautiful guitar. It was made in Japan, which is good because they make really good instruments, and awesome guitar. And I just bought it brand new, not a scratch on it. And I was changing the strings because the strings that came with weren't the best, and I wanted to put D'Addarios on, or actually Salvarez. It was a classical guitar. I was putting Salvarez strings on, and I didn't have any wire cutters to cut the strings once I tightened them, because you have a big part of the string sticking out on all 6 strings here, and you got to cut them off. Otherwise, you might poke your eye with them. And so I was. I didn't have wire cutters, but I did have a pair of needle nose pliers, and so I was cutting the ends of the strings off up by the tuning pegs, and I had the guitar up like this, and I dropped the needle nose pliers, and of course they went nose first and literally stuck right into the side of the guitar. And it didn't go all the way through, but it put a big deep hole in it. And if I recall, the needle nose pliers were literally stuck into the guitar like this. I had to pull them out. And man, I was heartbroken. Even though it was on the bottom, where the guitar sits on your knee, it was still traumatic. and then after that, I let my friend Phil. I have a friend Phil. He's the one that got me into recording. So I ended up studying recording engineering and got into that. And he was a great musician. He was working on an album, producing an album, and in a recording studio in Modesto, California, which was called Villa Recording Studios. And it was really an awesome studio. And the guy that built it, his dad owned a car lot, and so they had money, and they had a house out in the country, an almond farm, and so they converted the barn into a recording studio, and it did not look anything like a barn when they were done with it. Because of zoning laws, and getting a permit, a remodel permit is cheaper, or at least it was back then. This is back in the 1970s. It was cheaper than a starting from scratch and building a building. So if you could get a remodeling permit, then that was better. So all they had to do is just use one side of the barn and call it a remodel, and they got that permit. And they built this beautiful recording studio. It actually had I think the guy that designed it, and I did get to meet him. He was the Rolling Stones ex-recording engineer, and his name was John. And I think he was the one that maybe designed the studio, but he got the mixing console for the studio from England, and it was actually a Trident mixing console, and I think there was only 10 of them built. I don't know if they ever built any more, but each mixing console was designed specifically for the studio that was ordering it. So they would have the specifications. They said, this is how we want the board built, and Trident would build that board for them custom. So I think every board was custom made. Well, this one was custom made for Abbey Road Studio, and it was one of the boards that was used on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. So I got to see that board. My friend was producing an album there. He was also a studio musician playing on the project. So he played guitar, sang, and played keyboards, and my friend Phil. And just a great musician, great guy. So I was letting him, we were recording. I had some recording equipment because I got into it, and we were recording at my house. And I was letting him play my classical Aria AC60 guitar, and he kept banging it into the microphone, and he put a bunch of dents in it up here. And I thought it's kind of an honor to have scratches on my guitar from Phil, because he was such a great guy, and I learned so much from him, not just about recording, but also about songwriting, and also about musicianship and playing instruments, and just all the way around great guy. I've kind of lost touch with him. I can probably track him down. I'd lost touch with him for decades, and I literally tracked him down on the internet and called him up, and he's like, "How did you find me?" And it's like, I just put your name on, Googled it, and tracked you down. So, but I haven't talked to him the last few years. I need to try to get a hold of him, see how he's doing. But at any rate, so let's go ahead and see what I can do here. So out of all of these, and I'm going to go back through them again. Some of these are taller, and that's probably what I need, but they're not long enough. And these ones are this one's too short. This one, I think, I was using on my Cavaquinho. I have a couple of Cavaquinos. They're Portuguese stringed instruments, and when the Portuguese sailed to Hawaii back in the 1500s, the Hawaiians saw this little stringed instrument, and it looks just like a little tiny guitar with 4 strings, and so they designed their own version, and their version is called a ukulele. The Portuguese version is called a Cavaquinho. The difference is that Cavaquinos have steel strings, metal strings, and ukuleles have, well, the modern ones use nylon strings. So that's pretty much the difference. So Cavaquinos have a brighter sound, and you hear Cavaquinos a lot in Brazilian music. And I love Brazilian music, and they'll play like lead or chords, and they'll also do a lot of this real fast, intricate strumming with them, which is really cool. I really like that. But so let's see, let's check out some of these saddles. This one's too short, but it's really tall, and I think it's too short. Yeah, it's thicker than the other one. Let's see if these strings will go over, if I can center it. I can possibly use this one if I have to. I'm going to take the high E string here. These are strings that were originally on here when I guess this broke. And I'm going to push it over the nut and pull on it a little bit and tighten it. And check out the height. See, that's really low. Oh, I gotta go this way. That's low. I think these are going to be a little too low. I'm going to have some buzzing problems, I think. But we'll see when we tighten it up, see how much the neck flexes. It's a little shorter. I'm not going to use this one. These two in the bag here, one I think was for my Cavaquinho because I had to do some work on that. I have a couple of those. And then this one is too short. It's long, but it's not tall enough. So this is the tallest one. So this is the one I'm going to go with. And let me check. I know the height on this one was better, I think, than the other. It's kind of hard to get a reference because it's too long. It's not fitting in there all the way down. But let's see if that's a little higher. Yeah, that might work. So this one might work. And what I'm going to do, let me check this 6th string, the thicker string, thickest one, and see how this action looks. I'm going to stretch it over the nut, and okay, that's not bad. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut. So it's taller here and shorter here on this end, taller on this end, shorter on this end. So I want it to be as tall as possible. So I'm gonna have to cut some of this off because it's too long. So I'm gonna cut the shorter end off. so it'll be taller and all the way across. So now I got to measure this, and I think I'm going to see if I can draw it with my pencil. So I don't use a pen. And see if I can. I'm going to get this clamp out of here. I don't want to scratch up this guitar. The guitar is in really good shape. It's not really any scratches on it, except for the headstock that's busted. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this and then cut it with my Dremel tool. I think I'll use my Dremel, be the easiest. Fit it in there, and then we'll string it up and see what happens. Oh, this might actually work out good. And it's in tight, it's not wobbly. So yeah, that might work. Let's see what happens. I'll put some strings on it. Moment of truth. So, let's string it up. I had a set, I think they were Ernie Ball Super Slinkies. They were a brand new pack, and I opened them up and they were all rusty because of being on the boat. But these are airtight, so they should be good. So these are phosphor bronze strings, so they're real bright. I like bright. I don't like dull. I like a bright guitar. And I think I'll put in the 6th string and the 1st string first. And then that way I can see if this bridge is going to be the right height. Okay, so you just take the pen and put it on the end of the brass part and push it in. And that's all you got to do. And we'll see if this headstock holds. It may not. I'm thinking it should, but we'll see. Not bad. I think the action's probably all right. Let's see what we got. Boy, that's low action. Yeah, you can hear it rattle. It's not all the way tuned yet, though. It's pretty low. Yeah, it's rattling. It needs to go higher. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put strings on it and tighten it up. It might bend the neck a little bit up, but that's too low. Yeah, in Rattle City, that needs to go higher for sure. Okay, I got my trusty tuning fork here, A440. So it vibrates at 440 cycles per second. And it's the note A. And so if I put my finger on the 5th fret and hit it, usually I do a harmonic. Let's see if I can do a harmonic here. So I can go up higher. Well, the deck did bend up a little, and the strings look a lot higher off the fretboard, so we'll see if we get any rattling or not. So it's going to be out of tune. I'm going to have to tune it again a little bit. It's pretty close right there. Wow, this actually sounds pretty good. So that's close to being tuned. It's not perfect. And it's going to keep going out a little bit until the strings get broken. But the important thing is the headstock that I glued on here is holding. I'm going to have to raise this bridge up a little bit, the saddle higher, because I'm getting buzzing. Now that sounds pretty damn good. See, right up in here. Yeah, it's got to go higher. Right in the middle. Up here is good. Okay, let's check the intonation on the 12th fret. So, the 12th fret should be octave higher than open string. So, sounds good. Sounds a little flat. That sounds a little flat. That sounds a little flat. That sounds good. Sounds good. These sound a little slightly flat. Pretty close. And again, it might take this neck might bend a little bit with the pressure on it. So let's see what happens. Yeah, rattle trap. I play real light in it a lot. Yeah, it's rattling. Oh, no way. That's not good. Yeah, that is not good. I can't even play it in here. This is really bad. Yeah, this neck is, it's going to need to be adjusted. So it does have a rod going through here, steel rod. And there's an adjustment point back here. So I'm going to have to adjust that. I mean, open, since open sounds good. Actually sounds really good. This is not a bad sounding guitar at all. Yeah, that's not good. If the open strings sound good. That sounds. And up here. Yeah, it's rattly. It's hitting the frets. I can hear it. Yeah, it's hitting the frets. So. Hey, all right. The saddle needs to be a little higher. And I think I can do, it looks like I got an adjustment right here for the neck. Other than that, this thing sounds really good. I'm surprised. I knew it was going to sound good. I could tell. Yeah, it really sounds good. It's and I think it's going to be playable. I think once I get it adjusted, I should be able to use it. And I might end up liking this guitar a lot. So let's see how this headstock's looking. Is it holding? Oh, the Pelicans are back. I haven't seen them in a while. Okay, so this looks like it's holding fine. That's why luthiers use Titebond glue. So that's what I used. I used Titebond 3. But it's good glue. That's what you want to use. I wish there wasn't such a rattle trap. I could play a couple songs that I wrote. I was kind of doing that there for a second, but it was too rattly. And I'm not warmed up. I haven't played a lot lately. If you found this video to be helpful or entertaining, please like and subscribe. And maybe next time I'll have this fixed up and I can play a tune or two. I don't know what I'm going to do with these pink hearts. They're kind of cool, but yeah, looks like a little girl's guitar. And so I'll probably end up taking them off. They're just kind of stuck on there. I think I can take them off and they shouldn't. I should be able to clean it up and it'll look just pretty much like a new guitar. But I do like the sound.